بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Monday, the 20th of December 2021, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 286. And in recent days, we have been looking at the meanings of the words of chapter 2, verse 96 of the Holy Quran, and this is part 8 of these broadcasts. If you can hear church bells in the background, that is because our broadcasts are taking place from a building which is next door to a church, and they're practicing their bell ringing skills um, this evening. Just to remind you that the Lahore Ahmadiyya community, which brings you these broadcasts, it was created by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and of Qadian, and he taught us that although people think that another prophet will come after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, this is not correct, because the Holy Quran says the Holy Prophet is the seal of the prophets, and the Holy Prophet explained that by saying, La Nabi Abadi, there is no prophet after me. So now no prophet will come, whether it's an old prophet or a new prophet, and prophethood has completely ended. However, when there is a need, reformers called Mujaddideen will come, and they will explain to Muslims how they have gone astray from the right path, from the path that the Holy Prophet Muhammad set us upon. And God will guide them in this task. Now, obviously, when this happens, then there will be a difference of opinion. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad pointed out that people hastily jump to the conclusion that people disagreeing with them are kafirs and heretics and out of the fold of Islam and so on. The Holy Prophet said that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima, you are not a Muslim, it is the person making that statement who has gone closer to heresy. It is the person making the statement who's gone closer to heresy. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught us that although Muslims believe that some prophetic revelation has been missed out from the Holy Quran, this is untrue. People believe that Ayah Rajam, Surah Balayat, etc. are not a part of the Holy Quran anymore. They were missed out. But this is completely wrong. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad pointed out that the Holy Quran says that God has revealed it and He will guard it. So nothing can be missed. Similarly, people say that verses of the Holy Quran have been abrogated. Rishavalula says that people say that more than 500 verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated, but this is wrong. No verse of the Holy Quran. Hazrat Shah Waliullah said that he has investigated and only 7 verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated. But Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib pointed out that no verse of the Holy Quran was or is or ever shall be abrogated. And another thing that people think that jihad means taking a sword or a gun and killing a non-Muslim if he doesn't agree to recite the kalima. This is completely wrong. Jihad is a fundamental duty of every Muslim, but jihad as defined by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Holy Prophet said, on returning from fighting, that Muslims are now returning from the minor jihad, jihad is Sagir, to jihad Kabir, the major jihad. And then went on to explain that the major jihad is jihad bin nafs, a struggle against against the desires of your own self, greed and pride and jealousy and enmity, and the list is a long one, and both of us, you and me, we know what that list is. So let us turn to the verse of the Holy Quran we are going to talk about today, which is, as I said, chapter 2, verse 96. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولتجدنهم أحرص الناس على حياة ومن الذين أشركوا يود أحدهم لو يؤمر 1000 سنة وما هو بمزحزحه من العذاب أن يؤمر والله بصير بما يعملون. And you will certainly find them the greediest of men for life, greedier even than those who set up gods besides Allah. One of them loves to be granted a life of 1,000 years, and his being granted a long life will in no way remove him further off from the chastisement, and Allah is seer of what they do. In the last broadcast, we looked at the word azab, and an is a connector, and then we have yu'ammar. Yu'ammar we looked at in broadcast number 283, I think. Next word is walla, and we looked at that many times. And then we have bafirum. So we'll start with that, and then ya'malun. So let's turn to my notes on the computer. Okay. So the root, the triliteral root of this word is ba, sad, and ra. and it occurs in the Holy Quran 148 times in 10 different forms. 51 times as Basir, and 48 times as Basar, and 29 times as Absara. And then we have 7 times as Basirat, and 4 times as Mubsir, and then 3 times as Basurat, and 3 times as Mubsirat, and once as Mustabsirin, and once as Tabsirat, and once as Yabassaru. And this means to see, to watch, to understand. So it means all of these things. So Basaran means the faculty of sight. So in that, we know that we can't see without light, and so on. So, but it also means to understand something, because the Holy Quran also refers to this falling people who can't understand, blind or deaf or being in the dark, and so on. And because Basarun means the light that makes you see people, see things, then it also means understanding. And because of that, you need knowledge to understand something. So knowledge is called the light which we use to see. And so this word is also used. The Seerat is a common word of Urdu, which refers to your ability, a person's ability to understand something, his intelligence. This word is also used to denote an argument in support of something. And because it means, or it stands for seeing and sight and so on, it also means to witness. So, if you see something, you are a witness to it, obviously. So let's look at one or two places in the Holy Quran where it is used. وَإِذَا زَاغَتِ الْأَبْصَارُ, chapter 33, verse 10. And when the eyes were turned away. Kalam Khil Basar, chapter 54, verse 50, blinking of an eye. So in chapter 50, verse 22, the Holy Quran says, فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. And then we lifted the curtain, we raised the curtain, and you could see. You could see clearly. The plural is abfarun, plural of basarun. So the Holy Quran says, فَمَا أَغْنَى عَنْهُمْ سَمْعُهُمْ وَلَا أَبْصَارُهُمْ. And their ears weren't of any use, or their eyes. Now, this is worth remembering that when we're talking about seeing something with your eyes, then the word basirat is not used. This is seeing something through reasoning, through intellect, through knowledge, etc. For seeing something with the eye, you have fartu. So that is because one, as I've explained, one means actually physically seeing something, and the other one means actually understanding something. For example, the Holy Quran says in chapter 19, verse 42, "Lima ta'budu ma la yasma'u wa la yubsir." Why do you worship those things which can neither hear nor see? And, we are keen as Muslims to apply this to idols and so on, and say that, look, this religion or that religion, they pray to these idols that can't hear and can't see and so on. But then, praying to graves falls in the same category. Because once someone passes away, they cannot hear or see. They're human beings, just like us. So there's no point in going to some grave and asking that holy person buried there to grant you something. And as I said, this is covered by this verse that why do you worship things that can neither hear nor see? And the Holy Quran says, Rabbana abfarna wa sami'na. Chapter 32, verse 12. Our Lord, our Rabb, we have seen, abfarna, and we have heard. And then we have wa abfir fa sawfa yubfirun. Chapter 37, verse 179. Keep watching, and they too will soon see the result. Now, here obviously, keep watching doesn't mean that you can't now move. You sit there for 1 day or 1 week or 1 year until we can see, or you can see what the result is. What it means is wait. So keep watching here means wait. And these people will soon see the result of whatever it is. So, as I keep on saying over and over again, it is important that we actually look at how the Holy Quran is using a word. Here it says, keep watching, ba'abfir. But that does not mean that you're going to sit there and you're going to wait, and you're not going to go and have lunch and work and go to sleep and all this kind of thing, because the Holy Quran says wait. The next word, as I said, is yaqbalun, and its triliteral root, masdar as it's called, is ayin mim lam. And ayin mim lam occurs in the Holy Quran 360 times in 4 forms. 276 times it occurs as amila, and 71 times as amal, and 12 times as amil and once as amilat. And that is doing something, to do something, your deeds, your actions. So, in different forms, it means that. So let us see. Let me go to my notes on the computer and see. So it stands for all deeds, all the things, all the actions. But there has to be, there are a couple of conditions. You must do it deliberately. And, it can require skill and so on to do whatever it is you're doing. Now, when we're talking about doing something and deeds and so on, God also did something. If you remember, he created the heavens and the earth. Now, but interestingly, the word amala is not used for that. Why? Because this word means that the person doing whatever it was, this task, undertaking this task, he used energy and he became tired. So the Holy Quran uses the word fa'ala, for Allah creating something, for Allah doing something, and amila for living things. Now, obviously, it's easy to see living things doing something deliberately, with intent, as the law says. Now, the thing is this, you see, that it's easy to see how a human being would do this. You get up and then you get out of bed because your intention is to get out of bed. You wash and you change and you have breakfast and you run for the bus. Now, all these things are intentional. They don't accidentally happen. You don't accidentally fall out of bed. You don't accidentally fall into your clothes and all this kind of thing. But this also applies to animals. If you take the example of the honeybees, when they move when they move from one place to another, the beehive, that is not accidental. They send out scouts, so that shows intention. And scouts go out, some go north, some east, some west, some south, and so on, and they look for the best place, etc. And then they come back and they report. And all the honeybees have a kind of a meeting at which some of them get very excited because they're really convinced that, all of them should be going in a particular direction and so on, etc. So all of this means that there's an intention of doing something. Now, interestingly, people who are experts in dictionaries and so on, they also say that it applies to all living things. But then plants and trees and vegetation, they're all living things according to the scientific or biological definition of what is a living thing. But I can't see, and I haven't figured out how this will apply to them. So others say, well, as long as it's done, even if it's not intentional, it's still covered by that and so on. But some people say, no, intention has to be there. So let us have a look and see what the Holy Quran says. The Holy Quran, for example, says in chapter 2, verse 277, Inna allazina amanu wa amilu salihat. People who believed, Inna allazina aman, people who believed, and wa amilu salihat. They did, what did they do? Good deeds. Wa amilu, the word we're discussing, what kind? Folly. In another place, chapter 10, verse 112, it says, وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِنَ الصَّالِحَاتِ. And whoever does an amal, ya'mal, what kind? Which is a good deed. Or alternatively, مَن يَعْمَلْ سُوءًا يُجْزَ بِهِ. Chapter 4, verse 123, that whoever does a bad deed, then he'll be repaid in the same way. Chapter 11, verse 46, Innahu amalun ghayru salih. Salih is good. Ghayr salih, which is not good. The actions are not good. Amalun, actions, ghayr salih. وَالَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ شَدِيدٌ. Chapter 35, verse 10. And those who do bad deeds, then there is going to be punishment, and strict punishment for them. وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا. Chapter 9, verse 60. Chapter 9, verse 160. Which is an interesting use. Here it's used as amilin. And these are the staff, the workers of the department that is supposed to collect and dispense charity. So this is all for today, and in fact we've come to the end of discussing the meanings of the words of chapter 2, verse 96. So tomorrow we'll move on, inshallah, to chapter 2, verse 97, and see what that says. So in the meantime, with this prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz. Goodbye.